Real Drive is up next, and this one's a banger.
He said it's a banger, bitch. Beat her ass, bitch.
This is a
Good Dark Knight gang. I'm Neptune. Hey bro, today I'm about to react to another video from the homie Vinny Tube. This one right here is titled Best Action Anime with Hand-to-Hand Combat Fights. Yeah bro, y'all know I love hand-to-hand combat. It just looks so beefy, especially when it's done correctly. It's like a dance, you know what I'm saying? You see them blocking it, pop, pop, pop. They throwing moves, pop, 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 uppercuts, kicks and stuff, and they blocking it, dodging. It's like a dance, bro. It's so beautiful. Anyway, I'm ready to hop into this video. Shout out to the gang. Everybody have a great day. Let me know what anime you guys are currently watching. You guys know I'm watching Demon Slayer again, because the first time I watched it, I was, you know what I'm saying, I was smoking weed every day, eating edibles every single day. So I do not recall Demon Slayer. Hey, camera, focus, nigga. Focus, camera. Yeah. So, I don't recall it. So I'm rewatching Demon Slayer right now. I'm on like episode 18 now. It's Fuego. Anyway, I'm ready to hop into this video. Shout out to the gang. Everybody have a great day. Yo, let's go.
Who doesn't love a good old slugfest? Hand-to-hand combat, I feel, is quite underrated in the realm of anime. And then again, why wouldn't it be when you've got some world-ending powers and magic that anime tend to show? Still, there's just something in hand-to-hand combat that elicits such strong reactions with each blow, either out of amazement at the animation or the emotions being shown by the characters. Today, we'll be talking about some of my favorite anime that heavily features some hand-to-hand combat fights. Magical powers aren't exempt, but I will try to focus on stuff that features more physical close-quarters battles. Been a while. Hitori Noshita.
I told you, it looks like a dance, bro. That's how beautifully done it. That's how beautifully it is done. Tell me this don't look like a dance. Look.
It's been a while. Hitori Noshita is one of those underrated gems that went under the radar despite having aired for quite a while. Well, it's hard to stand out in an anime season, and the nature of the source material didn't really help matters. In such an underdog position, the best bet you can make is to excel at something, and Hitori Noshita did just that. Where else for a show that heavily features hand-to-hand combat but the godly animation? I featured this show a couple of times on my top fight list due to how smooth and fluid these battles look. While I think emotional investment for those fights isn't as high for me, the actual motion and spectacle of people punching each other and doing martial arts feels like a miracle in itself, especially if you look at the latest season. If you haven't watched Hitori Noshita, you should try picking it up sometime soon. I feel it's a fun action series that deserves quite a bit more love. It's got 4 seasons currently, but it shouldn't be too hard to catch up on. We resume with webcomic superiority with the next entry, God of High School. It felt like yesterday.
Beast!
When everyone was filled with hype. God of High School's first episode dropped, and it pretty much stole the thunder from a season filled with big sequels that included stuff like Snafu and the original storyline of SAO. Oh, and there's a ReZero season airing too, but no. Everyone's attention was on God of High School. Well, if you watch the first episode and see how it dazzles you with the fighting, then you'd understand. I find it sad that the show got rushed, but when it comes down to the one thing it does well, it does very, very well. God of High School has some of the best and most hyped fights I've seen in modern anime, and it bodes well for the show that has an identity of being that Korean battle tournament anime. God of High School has since earned a polarized reputation, but if you're up for some awesome fight after awesome fight, then you've definitely come to the right place.
I'm not gonna lie, the fights on God of High School always do intrigue me. They do look pretty beastly, but I haven't heard like hella good reviews about it. Like, oh, this anime is out of this world.
Foghill of 5 Elements is next on the list.
Okay.
We come back to yet another underappreciated gem, largely due to the same reasons as Hitori Noshita. It's shows like these that make me happy that I spent quite some time scouring through the whole roster of anime that gets produced every season from various corners of Asia. It makes me feel my efforts are worth it when I stumble upon these treasures. Foghill of 5 Elements, like Hitori Noshita, makes up for a lack of exposure and hype by putting its eggs in the basket of eye-catching fights. Eschewing the latter's modern setting, Foghill takes us to the ancient era of kingdoms and mysticism. It's got some amazing sequences that I've talked about in a video before, and you should definitely check that one out to get a glimpse of what to expect. This is a short 3-episode title, so if you've got time over the weekend, you should definitely give it a shot. It's not a huge time investment, and if you like these kind of settings with elements of martial arts and history, I guarantee you're going to end up loving this one.
That shit look fire, bro. I like how that one was animated. It was different, you know? It looked kind of like drawn. It looked I liked it, personally.
Zoom with Megalobox.
KO,
and here
man.
comes Mr. Action Anime of 2018. Oh, you don't know who that is? Well, there's this other video I made where under certain qualifiers I crowned Megalobox Action Anime of its year. It's unique in terms of aesthetics in a sports anime, and it's filled to the brim with gritty and intense fights. Surely a callback to the good old days of Ashita no Joe and the like, Megalobox combines the western feel with sci-fi, sports, and a whole lot of drama and emotion. As I said in that video, it evoked a sense of nostalgia for me, and it could do so for you too. The fights might not be as flashy as something from any of the 3 mentioned shows on the list, but the emotion and the impact are things that not a lot of anime can replicate. So
then nah, I need the flashiness. I need it to wow me, bruh.
while we're on the topic of boxing anime, we can now move on with Hajime no Ippo. Nothing beats the OG.
Nigga, you still weak.
The original, the king of combat sports anime. Hajime no Ippo has been met with critical acclaim thanks to its immersive story progression, lovable characters, and mostly the fights that go beyond expectations. Hajime no Ippo is one of the most honest sports anime out there, and in spite of lacking much of the flair and superpowers that sports anime often employ, it's carved a legacy for itself in the history of anime. It's no surprise that the show will have lots of intense fights that really make you feel the blood, sweat, and tears that these athletes go through in their race to eternal glory. Most Takamura fights should be a good starting point for battle enthusiasts, but Ippo himself has a lot of those amazing battles as well. What I like about Hajime no Ippo is that it's not entirely about the sport. The characters, the world and such all have their fair share of development, and I'd say that among sports anime, this show is probably the most complete among them all.
The hits look deadly. God damn.
Real Drive is up next, and this one's a banger.
He said it's a banger, bitch. Beat her ass, bitch.
This is a show that hasn't been talked about that much. Real Drive takes a lot of inspiration from the cyberpunk series of old that has quite the psychosocial or metaphysical backdrop. Think something like Ghost in the Shell, or even Serial Experiments Lane if we're to stretch out even further. While Real Drive didn't get a whiff of the popularity that those mentioned titles enjoyed, it does have one very special thing going for it. Awesome hand-to-hand combat fights. You should check those out if you want to find a reason to pick up this show. Combat enthusiasts would surely enjoy the show, and I hope that whichever type of watcher you are, you'll definitely give this niche series a shot. It takes a while to rev up and all, but I had a blast watching it from start to finish. How can we have
I was ready for him to beat the brakes off
a
of
list
her.
featuring hand-to-hand combat anime
Of course, you gotta throw Bucky in this bitch.
without Bucky?
Of course.
Of course, Bucky takes a spot on this list. Honestly, Bucky doesn't have the most original premise out there. Young man goes on a journey to become the strongest person in the world. However, the show makes up for it in execution, thanks to its wild cast of characters that are full of crazy, out-of-this-world surprises. Bucky's become quite the cult classic. It's a show that I admire for being on point with its goal as well. No slice-of-life shenanigans here, none of the comedic moments that you've likely come to expect if you're an avid fan of modern anime, just straight-up brutal and intense fighting all throughout. It's not like God of High School where the plot's pacing has been completely sacrificed in favor of the flashy fights. Bucky has a pretty damn solid progression as well, with characters that are pretty fleshed out. This makes you want to follow everyone's journey and dig deep into their motivations. Bucky's become my poster child for the saying with the proper execution, there's nothing that's too wild or crazy to work, and I guess that statement stands given the audience reception for the show and its modern sequels.
I disagree. Bucky is not good in my opinion. I do not like Bucky. Yes, the action is out of this world and the action is so intense and the animation even looks fire, but the story is garbage. There is no story. Bucky goes to jail because he wants to fight the strongest man. Trash. On the last Bucky, on that one he was just showing, it's a tournament. Trash. Like, you see what I'm saying? To me, I did not enjoy Bucky at all. It's not for me, bro.
Naruto.
Hey! This hand-to-hand combat scene. Oh my god, this is goated, bro. Goated, bro.
Naruto is one of the shows that spawned an entire generation of fans. I know. Hand-to-hand combat's not the first thing you think of when we say Naruto. However, in that batch of mainstream shonen that took over in the 2000s, it's the one that emphasized combat, specifically hand-to-hand combat, the most. Well, you just gotta look at how awesome Rock Lee's major fights were. Despite largely being comic relief, he and Guy have some of the most memorable fights that made our childhoods. And of course, who could forget that Kakashi versus Obito fight?
Yeah,
Naruto's
man.
a show featuring ninjas that barely act like actual ninjas and come equipped with demon beasts, magical eyes and the like, but all that craziness doesn't overshadow those epic moments of physical hand-to-hand combat. I can still recall how awesome it was when Guy, out of all people, gave Madara a run for his money. Naruto's had a long run, and it's a journey that I don't regret taking. It's a long runner, but if you're up for a long-running shonen with a lot of awesome hand-to-hand fights while having so many people to talk to about it, then Naruto's a personal favorite and my top recommendation.
Yeah, man. Alright, shout out to the homie Vinny2 for another great video. I agree, Naruto as number one, because that hand-to-hand combat scene, not only was it fire, but it also had that emotional impact with it. You feel me? Listen, my anime gotta have more than just action. My anime gotta have the passion, it gotta have action, it gotta have magic. Ooh, y'all know I'm a nerd for that fantasy magic. You feel me? I need to see it all, bro. That's just me. That's what I like. Anyway, shout out to the gang. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. I'ma see y'all next time. Y'all. Peace.